Today we're going to take a look at the T4 short nose DRL headlights. So we're going to open the box and we're going to lift them out, and we can see one of the main advantages of these lights have got the bulge at the side that makes them MOT compliant. On the back, everything's there that you need, and it's pretty much plug and play. It's a really simple install. So we've got the lights ready to be installed, and we're going to take a quick look at the basic tools you're going to need to do this job. Some sort of flathead screwdriver to pop the indicators out, the original ones, a plastic removal tool, a Phillips screwdriver, a ratchet, extension bar, and an 8mm socket. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to remove the front grille, and that's done by taking out the 5 screws holding it in with a Phillips screwdriver. This will expose the lower bolts that hold the lights in. We'll start by doing the top row first. And then we'll move on to the bottoms. To remove the grille, you've also got 4 clips, 2 at each side. These can be quite tricky, and I always find removing the indicator to get access makes life a little easier. To do this, I'm going to use the flathead screwdriver. And down the side of here on the top of the indicator you can see a clip, and you can just gently prise that away, and then the indicator will slide forward. Once we've removed the indicator, we can get to the back of it easy enough, and we just have to do a 1/4 of a turn on that, and then that will just pull out, and then we can put this to one side. We're going to move to the other side and do exactly the same thing. Prising the clip open gently, and then sliding the indicator forward. Again, we expose the indicator housing and we just twist 1/4 of a turn and gently remove. At this point, I find it easiest, now that we've got access to the top of this lower grille part with a non-metallic tool, you can actually get in, use it as a hook and pull it forward. Once we've done one side, top clip comes out, we get in and do the other side. Both top clips are off, and you can gently prise apart to make a gap to get the tool in a hooking motion, then grab hold and pull the bottom one out, and do the same at the other side. All 4 clips are now detached, and we can just simply lift away the grille and put to one side. Lifting away the grille will expose the other 2 8mm bolts that hold the light housing in place. So we're going to take the ratchet, extension bar and the 8mm socket, and we're just going to undo the 2 bottom bolts first. Moving up to the top, same simple process, just undo them. At this point, the headlight's free, and we can just give it a little wiggle and pull it forward. This makes it a lot easier to disconnect the plugs from the bulbs. With this one, you want to keep the plug in situ and twist 1/4 of a turn, and then release the bulb housing. We need the bulb housing for the next step. We just repeat the same process, but for the other side. At this point, we're ready for the new headlight unit. We need to be conscious of which way round and the orientation of the lights are, because they're left and right. We're going to start by plugging the electrics in. First, we'll take the bulb housing and we'll remove the bulb by pushing down and twisting 1/4 of a turn. We're going to take the cable that's on the black of the lights, and we're going to fit it in the same socket in reverse. We push down and then twist, and then just check that that's in place. Next, we're going to get the 3-pin plug, which matches up nicely with the original one, and we just push that in so it's nice and snug. There's a handy little sticker on here, it says remove. Guess what, we're going to remove that. If you've got clear indicators, you'll already have orange bulbs that go in the housing. If you've got orange indicators, you're going to need to get some orange bulbs. At this point, we're going to put the indicator housing in, and you line up the 3 tabs with the 3 holes. that goes in. Once in, slight turn to lock it in place, and that's solid. We're going to neatly place all the cables behind the light, making sure they're not going to get trapped. And then we're just going to push the light in place, and the brackets will line up with the existing holes, and we're going to put exactly the same bolts back in place. It's easier to put the top two in first because it'll hold the light in position when you go for the bottom two. We always tend to put every bolt and every screw in finger tight first so we can check alignment. So we're going to take the next light and we're just going to move over to the side and do exactly the same again. Now we've got it all hooked up and we're going to put it in place. On some models there is a resistor pack that's secured with these two bolts here, and as you can see we'll push it in and it's just slightly in the way, it won't let it go back into position. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to undo this to move it out of the way so we can slide this into position. We're going to undo this 10mm bolt here. Once the bolt's out of the way, you can gently just twist the resistor pack out of the way, and then the light will fit nicely. So the same as always, we're going to start with the top bolts first and we're going to put them in finger tight. And then once everything's finger tight, we can check the alignment. And once we're happy with the alignment, we can tighten up into position. These particular lights don't fit that bad at all, but in some cases they can look quite unsightly with a large gap down the side. So we've exaggerated this time to show you what it can look like, and obviously we're going to put it right and adjust it so it looks better. So if you do get a gap like this, the first thing you need to do is undo these two 10mm bolts on top of the slam panel here. It's also a good idea to loosen this 13mm bolt here. Once these are loose, you can actually push, and it's got a certain amount of adjustment. And you can have a quick look in under here, and you can just tilt the light around until you're happy and the gap's equal and the fitment's good. Once in position, hold and then tighten up the bolts. And you can see that the gap is now much more equal. Everything's in place, and it's a good idea at this point to check everything's working as it should. One thing to note, that when we put the first click on the lights of the dip beam, both the DRL and a partial light will come on. We need to stop this from happening. So as you can see, we've got both DRL and a partial main beam. We're after just the DRLs on, and to cure this, we need to have a look underneath the slam panel here, and there's just a yellow clip. All we need to do is just separate this clip. And as you can see, once the clip is separated, the partial main beam goes out. So now on the first click, we just get what we want, and that's just the DRLs. On the second click, we get DRLs and main beam. While we're here, we're just going to check full beam as well. Final check would be indicators. The easiest way to do this is just pop the hazards on. Final step, put the grill back on. Once the plastic clips have been knocked into place, we're going to hold the top section in with the screws. Exactly the same as we did last time, but just in reverse order. As you can see, with the dimple on the side, it reflects the light towards the rear and side of the vehicle, which makes these MOT compliant. Okay, so that brings us to the end of another video. I hope you've liked it. As always, leave some comments, hit subscribe, give us a like on social media, and we'll see you next time.